All of these big dick deviants is all catching hell in 2024. It's up for all of them. It don't matter if you Diddy or whoever you is. TG Jakes, any of them. All lies will be exposed. Black church said nothing. You would have thought all the pastors would have came. Nobody said nothing. Because TD Jakes over there with P. Diddy. Come on, Cat.
All these elite parties, the orgies, the satanic rituals, all of that happened to me when I was a child. I'm not talking about as an adult.
Alright, so this story is getting serious now. Katt Williams has once again set the internet on fire, but this time, the names he's calling out are shocking even for him. In one of his latest rants, Katt claims that Bishop T.D. Jakes, yes, the world-famous pastor, motivational speaker, and church leader, was involved in some of Diddy's alleged sick rituals. Now, at first, it sounds too far-fetched to believe, a man of God tied to Diddy's infamous parties, but when you start piecing together what's been coming out lately about Diddy's secret lifestyle, NDAs, and wild allegations, it doesn't sound so impossible anymore. Katt's been known to speak on the hidden side of Hollywood, the side most celebrities pretend doesn't exist. He's called out major stars, exposed strange industry behavior, and warned people about what really happens behind the cameras. But this time, it's not just another Hollywood figure he's targeting. It's someone with one of the biggest followings in the Christian world, and that's what makes this claim explosive.
Let me go to this question right here. It says,
all people that love the truth got to be happy if the truth coming out and lies is getting exposed. That's just what time it is.
People online are already split. Some say Katt's finally confirming what others have whispered for years, that the entertainment world and certain church circles might be more connected than anyone realizes. Others think he's gone too far, and that dragging TD Jakes into this is crossing the line. So what exactly did Katt say? What proof, if any, does he have? And why would a respected pastor be anywhere near the type of parties Diddy's accused of throwing? Let's get into it. So here's how things get really disturbing. Katt Williams didn't just throw out wild claims. He connected names and events that point towards something way darker than just celebrity parties. And one of those events are the pig nights. According to several insiders, what went down at Diddy's so-called pig nights was nothing short of demonic. That's what they were called behind closed doors, even though staff were reportedly told never to use that word. And Jakes is trying to cover up his tracks now because he's allegedly in the middle of it all.
It could happen if everything was true. All I got to do is repent sincerely from my heart.
One of the women who used to work at these secret parties, Allison Carter, recently broke her silence and shared what she saw, and it's honestly horrifying. She described scenes involving little people who were allegedly exploited, humiliated, and even forced into degrading acts for Diddy's amusement. According to her, what happened wasn't entertainment, it was ritualistic abuse masked as a party. She said she's still traumatized by what she witnessed.
From the age of 3 months old to 18 years old, I went through hell. All these elite parties, the orgies, the satanic rituals, the arm candy, the dropping suitcases of military grade weapons, of dropping cases with codes in them to missiles, doing clean hand jobs, basically being a kamikaze to another pimp. All of that happened to me when I was a child. I'm not talking about as an adult. All the hell that we're going through right now was everything that happened to me as a child, not as an adult. Not being able to have children of my own, that's what happened as a child, not as an adult. That's what I'm paying for as an adult. What's wrong with my body happened as a child.
Now, here's where it gets even darker. Diddy's former bodyguard, Gene Deal, also backed up some of these claims, saying Diddy and Jakes were known to take part in disturbing spiritual practices involving the sacrifice of animals, covering himself in their blood as part of what insiders now call ritual ceremonies. Katt Williams pointed out that this isn't just Hollywood excess anymore. It's flat out satanic.
Man, what I think about it is this, when I grew up in the church, the sinners was not supposed to have the same atmosphere with the saints. You had to be able to separate the two. So I'm looking at him as a saint going to a party that ain't nothing but sin, drinking, maybe fornication, man on man, woman on woman. he on she.
What's wild is how people are reacting. Allison Carter posted an emotional video recently, calling out the public for turning all of this into a joke online instead of focusing on the victims. She said too many are laughing about freak-off parties, while real people are still dealing with trauma.
People can't fathom. My mom tells me all the time, because I'm like, Mom, what the hell is wrong with people? People are painful. And she's like, but wait a minute though. Even on my worst day, I can't fathom the type of stuff that you went through. I wouldn't be able to think of that stuff.
Her message was clear. These weren't wild nights gone wrong. They were premeditated rituals done for power, influence, and control. And according to Katt, this is where figures like T.D. Jakes come into play. He claims that big names in both entertainment and religion were not only aware of these rituals, but were seen at some of them. That's why this story has people stunned, because if what Katt is saying is true, then this isn't just about Diddy anymore. It's about a much larger network that's been hiding behind fame and faith for years. After Allison Carter's emotional video went viral, people started digging deeper into who she was and what else she had said before. Turns out, this wasn't her first time trying to warn the public. A few months back, she had already dropped hints about what really went down at Diddy's infamous pig nights. At first, most people brushed it off as internet talk, but when she came back and spoke again, it all started to make sense. She explained that everyone who attended those parties had to sign strict NDAs before being allowed in. Celebrities, models, influencers, even staff. Nobody could talk about what they saw or experienced. And if that sounds familiar, it's because Pig Night wasn't a new idea. The concept actually dates back to Hugh Hefner's old Playboy Mansion days. There was even a 2022 documentary called Secrets of Playboy that talked about how Hefner used to host his own Pig Night events. According to Hefner's former girlfriend, Sandra Theodore, the parties were disturbing and degrading. She described how Hefner would sit at the head of the table, smoking his pipe, while young women, brought in from Sunset Boulevard, were paraded in front of wealthy guests. Staff were told never to use the term pig, but that's exactly what the men running the show called them behind their backs. It was dehumanizing, ritualistic, and abusive. And now, insiders say Diddy continued the same twisted tradition, but made it even darker. Allison claimed Diddy's version of Pig Night went far beyond what Hefner ever did. The guests were allegedly stripped of any control, with extreme rules and disturbing acts being forced on them. According to her, people weren't even allowed to eat during the parties because Diddy and his circle didn't want anyone vomiting from what was happening.
And watching an episode called Pig Night, when I went, they tried to feed us, and I remember it because when you have to do orders, jobs like that, you don't eat. You're not allowed to eat. You actually have to starve yourself, because this is about to get a little bit dark. So if you got a faint stomach, or if you just can't be doing it right now, just go. Don't even try to. It's a lot. It's about to get a lot. So just, here's your time. Exit. When you have to do those type of jobs, you can't eat because you will throw up. If you are doing anal, or if you are a guy doing anal, you will shit everywhere. When this happens, your pimps will get mad at you. Really mad at you. And if that is a fetish for someone, they use that to their advantage. So if you throw up on someone, you will have to eat it. If you shit on someone, you will have to lay in it. Have in it, stay in it. So when they tried to feed us, I already knew not to eat, because I'm always told, at the end of a job, I was really happy if my pimp would give me grapes, because that was a big thing of mine. I loved grapes when I was a teenager. I don't really love grapes that much now. They're still alright, but texture issues. Anyways, yeah. Yeah, so I knew, okay, we're not gonna eat. I don't know what this is for. I was told don't eat the food. Okay, fine. I thought it was because it was a different source of drugs.
But the worst part? She said some of the powerful men there had disturbing fetishes and would make others perform humiliating acts for their entertainment. The things she described weren't just wild celebrity parties. They sounded like organized rituals meant to degrade, control, and dominate. And this is exactly what Katt Williams has been calling out. He says what people think are exclusive Hollywood events are actually ritualistic gatherings where power and fame come at a spiritual cost. And according to Katt, figures like T.D. Jakes weren't just bystanders. They were allegedly part of the same circle that benefited from this twisted system. That's why people are now questioning how deep the connections go. Because if what Allison described and what Katt's been warning about are true, this isn't just a Hollywood scandal. It's a full-blown exposure of a dark, satanic network that's been hiding in plain sight.
Playboy has I forgot what I was gonna say. Contracts. Non-disclosure contracts, where sometimes there are celebrities that are a constant visit. And when they're a constant visit, these celebrities have a contract with the Playboy. Depending on what location they're at, either way it goes, but especially when they're a known celebrity, they have contracts. So it kind of keeps them safe. If there's a Playboy bunny that leaves, they're not allowed to tell who they had sex with, who was there, who was a frequent bunny, who was a member, or frequent John, and who was a member. You're not allowed to. Technically, when you work at the Playboy, when you work there, when you are on an intake and you work and you have a room at the Playboy, it is treated as if you have a contract, and you can't talk about those things. So for me, I didn't have that contract. I was brought in.
After Allison Carter's revelations, the internet lit up with speculation, and that's when Katt Williams' comments brought another name into the mix. Bishop T.D. Jakes Williams claimed that figures in both entertainment and faith circles have been tied to the same powerful networks that protect Diddy and others accused of disturbing behavior. He didn't present proof that Jakes personally joined in, but he did question how someone with that level of influence could stay so close to the celebrity world and not know what's really going on.
It's a lot to process that they were called pigs. You can feed a pig anything. Pigs will eat shit. My pig, I had a pig. I love my pig. She's really smart. So pigs are smart. And it was stupid because it's treating it as you can do whatever you want to the pigs. Just pigs. Processing that as an adult, I'm trying to deal with it.
That one statement was enough to send social media into overdrive. Some users started pulling old photos and videos showing Jakes at music industry events, asking whether those connections were purely social or something more strategic. Others argued that Katt was blurring the line between exposure and accusation, that he was pointing to a broader problem of spiritual leaders mixing too closely with Hollywood's power players, not making a literal charge. The discussion quickly turned into a bigger question. How much do pastors, influencers, and public figures really see behind the scenes? And if they do know, how far would they go to stay in those inner circles of fame and money? Now, this next part is where things went from shocking to unbelievable. After Allison's post started blowing up, more people began resurfacing older interviews and documentaries that hinted at even darker rumors surrounding Diddy's private life. Some former staff members and bodyguards have shared their own experiences, saying that certain gatherings had a strange, ritual-like energy. One ex-bodyguard even claimed claimed Diddy once met a mysterious man in Central Park before an important court date, something he described as a spiritual cleansing or protection ritual. Whether that story was symbolic or literal, viewers were disturbed by the details. Online, theories exploded. People began connecting the dots between old pig night stories, secret NDAs, and celebrity circles that seemed too intertwined to ignore. Threads popped up suggesting there were hidden tunnels, private invite lists, and coded rules that kept these events under wraps. None of this has been proven, but it's feeding a larger conversation about how power, fame, and secrecy mix in the entertainment world. That's also why Katt Williams' comments about TD Jakes hit so hard. He wasn't saying the pastor committed crimes. He was raising questions about why spiritual leaders sometimes appear close to Hollywood elites who've been accused of disturbing things. It sparked debates about whether faith and celebrity culture can really coexist without compromise, and whether influence itself has become a kind of currency that blurs moral lines. In the end, what's clear is that the internet isn't letting this topic die anytime soon. Viewers are demanding transparency, accountability, and answers, and until someone brings solid proof or a full investigation, people will keep speculating about what really happens behind those closed doors. And honestly, none of this comes as a total shock to some people, because TD Jakes has long been seen in close circles with Diddy. Over the years, the pastor has been spotted at multiple events and parties connected to Diddy, and their friendship is well documented in public appearances. Whether it's award shows, celebrity gatherings, or charity events, they've been photographed together enough times that it's clear there's a real connection. Commentators online are pointing out that when you see someone like Jakes repeatedly moving in the same circles as Diddy, it raises questions about just how intertwined their worlds are. Again, this isn't an accusation, it's about patterns of association. Katt Williams hinted at this dynamic too, suggesting that people in these networks, even spiritual leaders, can't be completely unaware of what's happening around them. So while the alleged stories from Pig Night and other wild rumors are shocking on their own, some viewers say it fits a broader picture. Hollywood, fame, and influence often intersect in ways that blur lines between morality and power. And seeing Jakes consistently around Diddy makes people wonder just how much of these inner circles are built on social friendship versus deeper influence. And we know this because a lot of other people have spoken about Jakes and his connections. One of the people closest to Diddy who gave the insights into all of this is his ex-bodyguard, Gene Deal. Hints at the relationship between Diddy and TD. Jakes wasn't just about Sunday sermons or spiritual guidance. According to him, there were things happening behind the scenes that people couldn't ignore forever. And Gene isn't some random commentator trying to get clout. He's been in the middle of Hollywood's highs and lows for decades. From East Coast versus West Coast drama to the hidden corners of celebrity culture, he's seen a lot. And he's connecting dots that most people don't even want to think about. Diddy wasn't just a mogul. He was calculated, magnetic, and dangerous in all the ways that command loyalty. People wanted to be near him for different reasons. Some were lured with money, some with promises of fame or opportunities, and others stayed out of fear because Diddy had leverage and knew how to use it. And TD Jakes, he wasn't just attending for fellowship or spiritual guidance. Over the years, sources and footage have shown him in settings that don't resemble typical ministry events. He wasn't there simply to pray, he was present at high-profile gatherings where Diddy was at the center. Whether that means friendship, influence, or deeper involvement, it's clear that their association goes beyond what most people would expect between a pastor and a music mogul. Diddy didn't just give TD Jakes access, gave him influence, exposure, and a level of power that few people outside the entertainment world could ever touch. And according to insiders, Jakes didn't just accept it, he embraced it. For a man who preaches morality, redemption, and spiritual guidance every Sunday, being consistently seen in these circles raises more than a few eyebrows. People online have been asking the same question: how do you balance the world of high-stakes celebrity with the moral authority of a mega-church pastor? Sources suggest this wasn't just casual friendship or networking. This was alignment. Jakes wasn't simply attending events out of curiosity or social obligation. He was positioning himself inside Diddy's sphere of influence, where fame, money, and cultural power were flowing. Observers argue that by being there, he gained something that most church leaders never could: a seat at the table of Hollywood's inner workings. And if that meant keeping quiet when things got messy, or simply staying present while others indulged in wild behavior, insiders say that's exactly what happened. Gene Deal, Diddy's former bodyguard, hinted at the same dynamic. He suggested that being that close to someone like Diddy isn't something you can do without seeing the fire and feeling it. Being in those rooms, surrounded by high-profile celebrities, parties, and behaviors that most would consider extreme, means you're aware of the environment. Deal said that the presence of a figure like Jake's in these situations speaks volumes, whether people want to admit it or not, and the influence went both ways. Diddy gave Jake's money, access, and exposure to cultural relevance beyond the church. He provided him with opportunities to connect with powerful people, be seen on high-profile platforms, and navigate circles that few spiritual leaders ever touch. In return, Jake's offered something that insiders say carried equal weight: his name, his presence, and perhaps most importantly, his silence. People in Hollywood know that being seen with someone like Jake's adds legitimacy, and that can be invaluable. Critics online point out that this dynamic isn't unique. History is full of spiritual leaders who align with powerful figures for access or influence. But in this case, the proximity to Diddy's world, combined with the rumors and insider accounts from parties like the infamous Pig Nights, raises uncomfortable questions, not about proven actions, but about the optics of closeness, influence, and the choices people make when navigating spaces where wealth, fame, and secrecy collide. At the end of the day, sources suggest Jake's wasn't naive or oblivious. He knew what it meant to stand in those rooms. He knew the stakes. And for commentators watching this unfold, the relationship between Diddy and Jake's illustrates a larger issue. When faith and celebrity collide, the lines between moral authority, power, and personal ambition can blur in ways that leave everyone asking tough questions. For years, people have noticed just how tight Diddy and TD Jakes seemed to be. They weren't just acquaintances who crossed paths at a few industry events. These two showed up together a lot. Photos, videos, red carpets, even public prayers. You'd see them hugging, laughing, showing love, like brothers who had been through it all together. But this wasn't your typical church friendship. There was something different about it, something that made people look twice. Because when a megachurch pastor starts moving in the same spaces as one of hip-hop's most controversial moguls, people are going to start asking questions. And the connection got even clearer back in 2021. That's when Jakes brought his sermons, his actual preaching, onto Revolt TV. Yes, that Revolt TV, the network owned by Diddy, known for music, celebrity interviews, and culture talk. Not exactly Sunday service material. The movie shocked a lot of people. Why would a spiritual leader bring his ministry to a channel rooted in the entertainment world, especially one run by a man whose reputation was already complicated? At the time, Jakes brushed it off. He said it was about reaching new audiences, spreading the message to a wider crowd. But now, looking back, people are wondering if that partnership was just business or something that tied them together much deeper than anyone realized. Fast forward to now, and the timing couldn't be more suspicious. Diddy just sold off his remaining stake in Revolt Media, completely stepping away from the company he started. That came right after a wave of lawsuits and investigations started circling his name. It's like the walls started closing in, and suddenly everyone who used to be around him is trying to disappear quietly. And that's where Jakes comes in, because once Diddy's name started blowing up across the internet, all the scandals, the lawsuits, the talk, Jakes' name started popping up too. Not because anyone accused him of the same things, but because people remember how close they were. They remember the photos, the videos, the interviews, and the internet, being the internet, doesn't forget. Now Jakes is in what looks a lot like damage control mode. He's posting, speaking out, saying the rumors are false, and that people are trying to drag him into a mess he has nothing to do with. But the tone feels defensive, like a man trying to rewrite the narrative before it gets written for him. And here's the truth. Once your name gets tied to someone like Diddy, even by association, it's hard to shake off. People are asking, was he just a spiritual advisor caught in the middle of a celebrity storm? Or was he closer to the business and the lifestyle than anyone realized? When you start connecting the dots, everything begins to make sense. And honestly, it's chilling. The Pig Night stories, the freak-off parties, the disturbing rituals that insiders claim went down behind closed doors. None of it feels random anymore. These weren't just wild Hollywood rumors. They were pieces of a pattern built on power, control, and the illusion of success. Katt Williams was one of the first to call it out. He didn't sugarcoat anything. He said what a lot of people were too scared to admit, that there's a dark side to fame, one that feeds off humiliation and secrecy. And when he mentioned names like Diddy and TD Jakes, the internet lost its mind, because no one expects a pastor to be anywhere near this kind of mess, and people have been calling it out too. One person wrote on X, "What was TD Jakes doing at Diddy parties?" Another added, "A very close friend of mine worked for Jake's ministry for a short time years ago and told me directly that Jakes is a homosexual and has engaged in for a long time. I have no reason not to believe my friend, but the more you look at it, the more it tracks. Diddy's parties weren't just about music or money. They were about dominance, rituals that blurred the line between pleasure and power. And who do we keep seeing in his circle? T.D. Jakes, the same man who preaches about morality every Sunday, somehow showing up in the middle of Hollywood's dirtiest secrets. People can argue all they want that Jakes was just ministering or trying to bring light into dark spaces. But let's be real, how many times can you show up to the same darkness before you start blending into it? When you're standing next to someone like Diddy, not once, not twice, but over and over again, it stops looking like coincidence and starts looking like participation. And that's exactly what Katt Williams was getting at. He wasn't just name dropping, he was peeling back the layers of a system that's been protected for years. A system where religion, money, and power all sit at the same table, pretending to serve different masters. And now, as the lawsuits pile up and the walls close in, everyone's scrambling to protect their image. But the truth doesn't stay buried forever, not when too many people have seen too much. So, when you hear people saying they were satanic, it doesn't sound like exaggeration anymore. It sounds like a warning, one that's finally being heard. So, what do you think? Comment down below and let us know. If you like this video, click the subscribe button and hit the bell icon to be the first to see my next video. I post updates like this every week where I uncover the secrets of your favorite celebrities.